Jimmy Dore is amazing. He's another guy that's risen as an independent journalist. He's a comedian.
So first of all, I do not believe that Jimmy Dore is a journalist, but I also don't believe that I'm a journalist. I don't think any of us are journalists. I think we are all commentators. We're just giving our opinions on things. And this is already a media literacy problem that we have in this country. Is it reporting or is it commentary?
In today's video, David Pakman exposes how Joe Rogan has basically become a megaphone for MAGA conspiracies, whether he realizes it or not. Rogan has a massive platform, and while he claims to be just asking questions, a lot of the time he's pushing misinformation and right-wing talking points without fact-checking. From pandemic lies to election conspiracies, his podcast has become a playground for ideological confusion, especially for young men who take his word as gospel. So let's dive in and watch how David Pakman shuts down Joe Rogan in this video.
And he started his show basically just making fun of political things. And then during the pandemic, got vaccine injured and really got kind of red-pilled and kind of became like the voice of truth and reason. And, you know,
he was vaccine injured, and now we can, as a result of the injury, we can now count on Jimmy Dore to tell us the truth.
Another guy who's been completely outcast by supposedly progressive people for just telling the truth.
Now, of course, I don't even know that it's accurate to say Jimmy Dore has been outcast by progressive people. This is one of the things that's really important to understand. When you change your views and you go, hey, actually the vaccines are fill in the blanks, everything Jimmy Dore has said, which isn't true, and it doesn't really seem like Trump's actually that bad. And, you know, I don't want to misquote Jimmy Dore, but, you know, this kind of playing coy with like, I'm as left as anyone, but like Harris, no, you know, Trump's actually not what people say. Once you start doing that, it's not that you're outcast because you're willing to tell some truth that nobody on the left wants to hear. You just lose any connection to the values and principles of progressivism, which include that we follow the science, we try to separate our feelings from the facts, we oppose authoritarianism, and this is the kind of scariest part. There's a lot of people in what I refer to as the revolutionary left, which I don't even really know that is the left. There is a wing or a sort of through line of people who at some point considered themselves to be nominally on the left, who are just enamored with authoritarianism and often authoritarian leaders and authoritarian dictators. And there's really nothing there that is leftism as I recognize it, where leftism is really libertarian, small L libertarian, where you say, let's get out of people's lives, except for places where we have a really good case that government should be involved. There are things that are too big to just handle in the libertarian way, and then we say government should be involved there. Healthcare would be one of them. Collecting taxes would be another one of them. Doing the roads would be another one of them. Military would be another one. So like the hyper-libertarian would say, government shouldn't even do military. We should leave it to private armies and they can be contracted for, no. Right? So the small L libertarianism of the left that I recognize and consider myself a part of would say, a lot of this stuff, let's just keep the government out. I don't need the government directing, you know, how we do mobile phone development. Let's let Apple and Samsung and whoever, right? But in some areas, I don't want the libertarian version of mercenary armies. Let's have the government do military. Okay, you guys get it. The problem is that the rhetoric of a lot of this populism has started to become indistinguishable left and right. And then they start playing coy with authoritarianism. And then we go, guys, there's nothing on the left that we recognize here. So I don't care about Jimmy Dore in the sense of saying we have cast him out from the left. I just don't hear him say anything that still places him on the left. He has segregated himself by virtue of what he has started to say. No one has cast him out. All right, let's continue.
Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Now, first off, The claim that Dore was vaccine injured has no verified medical backing. More importantly, being upset about a personal experience doesn't suddenly make someone an expert on public health policy. There is absolutely zero evidence supporting his anti-vaccine claims, and yet Rogan treats it like some great awakening. Meanwhile, real medical professionals, the people who actually study this stuff, continue to emphasize that vaccines saved millions of lives. Pakman also makes a great point about how these so-called leftists like Dore shift their rhetoric to play footsie with authoritarianism. The moment they start downplaying Trump's damage or pushing MAGA talking points, it's not that they're being cancelled or cast out by the left. It's that they've abandoned the principles they once claimed to support. If you're cozying up to authoritarianism, spreading misinformation, and rejecting science, you're not some brave truth teller. You're just another reactionary mouthpiece.
Inconvenient truth.
Inconvenient. But I guess the progressives, are they
By the way, Woody Harrelson seems to have no idea what's going on.
now the conservatives? We got to change the term because progressives seem a lot less progressive.
Yeah.
I really felt quite, during this whole thing, I felt quite,
I think they got co-opted, and I think it was on purpose. I think there was some very sophisticated psychological
This is the Alex Jones PSYOP perspective.
manipulation that was involved, and a lot of money was being spent.
I wish they told us who spent the money and how, and also kind of like why too.
In order to push some very specific narratives.
For what reason?
And they did a great job of it. They did a great job of it, but we're finding out because of the Department of Government Efficiency that most of this was funded by our own tax dollars, which is really fucking crazy.
Now, this is another one that this is like 12 conspiracies. Another one that they're pushing now is even that like shows like mine, without my knowledge, are funded by USAID through shadowy nonprofits who then come and buy ads on the show. Just completely made up. And it's funny that Rogan has fallen hook, line, and sinker for Doge is finding all of this stuff. Doge still has not found a single instance of demonstrated fraud that they have proven. When Caroline Levitt holds up papers and she goes, look, 30 grand for a DEI program. First of all, DEI programs aren't fraud. You might think that they're bullshit. You might think we don't need them, but they're not fraud. And also, we're going to solve this problem 30 grand at a time. I'm sorry, we're not.
A lot of these NGOs that supported a lot of these crazy riots and all these different things that were happening in our cities was really supported by our own tax dollars. And it was just a subversion of public discourse. Instead of allowing people to figure out what's right and what's wrong, they pushed what they wanted you to say, and anybody who deviated from that was canceled. And because of the fact that before Elon bought Twitter, the left had complete, total control over the narrative because they owned all the social media sites and they were in lockstep with the government. So
now, of course, I don't know when he's referring to. As many of you know, the Twitter files, which were supposed to explosively show that Twitter was biased on the left, showed that both the Trump administration and the Biden campaign, right, one's in power, had back channels to say to Twitter, we find these accounts problematic. Trump and Biden both had that. Facebook, owned by Meta, decided before Biden was even president that they were going to start getting away from some of the political stuff in a way that hurt the left, didn't help the left. It's all lies. It's all lies. And I believe Rogan believes it. When I see him say this stuff, he genuinely seems to believe this stuff. I don't think that this is, we've criticized some who play characters. I think Candace Owens basically plays a character. I think she, based on her upbringing and everything we know about her, I think she's a character. I think Rogan genuinely believes this stuff. I think he's wrong about it. And the lack of specificity is the first indicator that there's really nothing here. I welcome the opportunity to talk to him about it. I will be down in Texas. It seems he doesn't want to have me on, which is, of course, completely within his rights. It's his show. But it is disappointing.
Now again, none of what he's saying has any actual evidence behind it, taking this whole idea that the government was controlling the media before Elon took over Twitter. That's just nonsense. The Twitter files, yes, the very thing conservatives claimed would expose left-wing control, actually showed that both Trump and Biden's team back channels with Twitter. It wasn't some left-wing takeover, it was just standard communication between governments and platforms, which happens in every administration. And let's not forget, Facebook actually made changes that hurt left-wing pages, not helped them. So where's the proof of this massive left-wing media control? It doesn't really exist. Then Joe Rogan jumps on the Doge bandwagon, acting like this made-up government watchdog has uncovered massive fraud. But as Pakman points out, they've got nothing. Holding up a DEI program's budget and screaming fraud isn't proof of anything. You might not like DEI programs, but that doesn't make them criminal. Honestly, if this is the best they've got, it's just laughable. And Pakman is actually open to talking with Rogan. He's even said he'd go to Texas for a conversation, and honestly, that would be fascinating to watch. Pakman would actually challenge Rogan in ways he's not used to, and it would force him to actually back up his claims instead of just throwing out vague conspiracies. If Rogan is as open-minded as he claims, he should have Pakman on. But this is it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section down below.